Padmaja?
Yes.
Greetings to everybody. Welcome for today's program. You all know that as per the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, obesity among 191 countries, USA comes around 12th in the world, about obesity about 36%. While India comes in 187th country with obesity about 3.9%. In US, if you look at the states, Mississippi is the highest obesity rate compared to rest of the states. Oklahoma, our chair, where she belongs, is almost close to Mississippi. So a lot to work. I'm sure AAPI working very hard for the last 8 years under the leadership of Dr. Koduri. She's going to enlighten more about the program. And I would like to welcome you all to start today's webinar, Obesity. Thank you very much.
Dr. Vijaya, she has to run the program, the PowerPoint.
Yours, Dr. Koduri?
Yes.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Uma Koduri, founder of Nobesity Revolution. Obesity has been recognized as a disease in 2013. It is now a global epidemic. World Health Organization has recognized that prevention is the most feasible option for curbing the obesity epidemic by making the healthy choice the easy choice. Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. So AAPI has been doing educational walkathons. We term it Nobesity Revolution. Like how the American Heart Association promotes red for heart disease, AAPI is promoting yellow for obesity. Why yellow? Because yellow stands for energy, motivation, hope, optimism, joy, and happiness. We got official proclamations to wear yellow for obesity by the governor of Oklahoma in 2013 and just 3 days ago by the governor of Georgia. We got from several mayors across different states too. We are trying to get from the White House. National AAPI took up the initiative to fight obesity on 12-12-12, following the Walk World Walkathon on 11-11-11, organized by AAPI Tulsa chapter. We organized several events starting in schools in USA in 2013. So far, we covered more than 100 schools in USA across 15 major states. We covered 12 veteran centers. In India, so far, we covered 12 schools. Countless number of events were organized in medical centers, at conventions, conferences, etc., covering all the 7 continents. Basic messages during our campaign: eat less, eat healthy, move more. Obesity affects almost all organs in the body, causes high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, strokes, and even some cancers. Not many know that it can cause cancers. 5210 magic is the take-home message for school children. We make them learn this during our school events. 5 servings of fruits and vegetables in a day, 2 hours or less of screen time, 1 hour or more of physical activity, and 0 sugary drinks. Any vigorous activity, like even housework, gardening, counts as exercise. Any activity other than just sitting and watching TV or doing computer work. If possible, invest in a standing desk. Some of our favorite slides we use at our events. Rainbow colored foods are loaded with nutrients, vitamins, and minerals. Good foods are naturally colorful. Sodas have a lot of sugar. 1 can of soda has 10 teaspoons of sugar. The 2011 Choose My Plate was changed to the Sustainable Power Plate in 2015. No meat, no eggs, no dairy. This is similar to the whole food plant predominant diet recommended by the American College of Lifestyle Medicine for treatment and reversal of chronic diseases, including obesity. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, we held off on all our planned group obesity events for the time being, like the one we planned in May of 2020. Our new initiative with social distancing is workplace wellness. Obesity logo. The world map indicates it is a global epidemic. Father, mother, child are seen walking to show that the whole family should be involved. Walking track to show that brisk walking is one of the easiest and best forms of exercise. 12-12-12 is the start of our campaign. Rainbow rim shows we need to eat colorful fruits and vegetables. Finally, the yellow in the center is our chosen color for obesity awareness. Depending on the event, we change the taglines in the walking track, like educate to empower, be fit, be cool, be healthy, be happy. This activity picture won the first prize in Intel photo competition in 2012. We use this logo for the veterans. We have thousands of photos in our Facebook, Obesity Revolution. This Walk World Walkathon picture is from 11-11-11. The Obesity Revolution started on 12-12-12. Pilot school program in Tulsa in 2013. Pilot school program in India by AAPI and GAPIO in 2015. Pilot program for veterans in 2017. This is our last group picture in 2020. This is the 7th continent, Antarctica. Please see our Facebook, Obesity Revolution, for more information. Today, the take-home message is, let food be thy medicine. Thank you.
All right. Our next speaker is Mr. Mohammed Dajtik. He's a motivational educator. He has his own website called www.thehealthyliving.ca. The CA stands from Canada. He's from Canada. Mr. Mohammed struggled with obesity his whole life. At one point, he was almost 500 pounds, and obesity almost killed him. After losing over 300 pounds in 1.5 years, and while helping others lose over 1,000 pounds along the way, he earned the title, the Melting Snowman. He set out on a mission to help 100 million people across the world to overcome obesity and maintain a healthy body for life. Mohammed is also an upcoming author of the book, The Healthy Living Process. I have known him for the past 5 years. He's a very dynamic speaker. So please welcome Mr. Mohammed Dajtik, the Melting Snowman.
First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Uma Kodari for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to speak along the amazing speakers here and to educate people on obesity and how I overcame obesity and how they can apply this knowledge into their life in order to change their life as well. So the title of the presentation that I wanted to share is The Truth Behind Weight Loss and Maintenance. And the reason of this is that I struggled with obesity my whole life and I tried just about everything and nothing worked long term until I created the healthy living process, and this came out as I was losing weight. And as you can see here, at one point in my life, I was almost 500 pounds. and obesity almost killed me. I ended up losing over 300 pounds in about a year and a half or so, and I also helped other people lose over 1,000 pounds along the way, and this earned me the Melting Snowman nickname. So while I was before I lost the weight, I asked myself 3 questions that I wanted to know the answers to. Why are people obese? I've seen other people who are not, so I want to know the answer. The second question I asked myself is how to take action to overcome obesity. And the last question I had in my head was how do I maintain my weight loss for life? I didn't want to lose weight and then go back and gain it. I just wanted to lose it and maintain it for life. So why are people obese? There are so many different answers, as you can see here. It could be anything from genetics, it could be some due to some medications, types of food available to people, misinformation, lack of support, or it could be sugar addiction, which I had. I used to eat a lot of junk food, especially that had a lot of sugar and salt. I'm sure by now a lot of people have heard that how addictive sugar is, almost as cocaine, and if you do a little bit of research, I'm sure you will be able to find that easily. And there's also marketing tactics and businesses they use, sadly, to brainwash, and it's sad to see this happening to kids too. And I was that kid that happened, you know. The way they present information, they get us to trick us to eat their food, and even though the food is unhealthy for us, and if we eat a large amounts of it, it's going to lead to obesity, as it happened to me. This next question I asked myself was how to take action and to overcome obesity. I wanted to know what I need to do to change my life, to lose the weight. And what I've learned is that we have to take action right away, right now, from this moment on. So as soon as you finish this presentation, please go for a walk, 10 minutes, eat an apple. That's a great start today. Tomorrow you will do a little bit of more, and each day, as you progress, you're gonna do a little bit of more, and you're gonna change your life. So again, do not wait for tomorrow. If you keep putting off tomorrow, it's never gonna happen. Start right now. And remember this, small progress matters. Small progress turns into big results. And believe me, I couldn't lose over 300 pounds in one day. It took me about a year and a half to lose over 300 pounds. So each day that you lose, it adds up to your weight loss. So believe in yourself, and again, it's gonna come up quicker than you think if you stick to it. And the last question that I asked myself is how do I maintain the weight loss? And then I want to do this for life, not just for a year, 2 or 3 or 5. I want to do it for life. So far, I've been maintaining it for about 8 years. So once you begin your journey to lose weight, do not stop. When you're in the middle of the progress, let's say you lost 100 pounds and you will lose 150. Do not stop. Just keep going, and eventually all the weight will come off. But also, once you lose all the weight, you want to make sure you maintain as well. And again, once you get into the maintenance, do not stop. Every pound counts. Remember, every pound that you take off counts. That's to your weight loss. It counts. So believe that. And also, you may have bad days. You may have good days. And when you have a bad day, do not turn to junk food to eat it to solve your problem. Go for a run. Relax a little bit. You know. And then when you clear your head, when you feel relaxed, you're gonna come back and do whatever needs to be done to fix your problem. But again, do not eat because you're stressed. And if you do this isn't what's gonna happen. It's gonna so when you have these bad days and you turn them into good days by exercising, relaxing, releasing the stress, and also when you do it on a daily basis, what's gonna happen is you're gonna build mental grooves in your mind. It's gonna become a habit. Once it becomes a habit, it's gonna be your daily routine. So as an example, today I basically cannot have one day that goes by unless I do something like physical, that I exercise, because I feel good about myself mentally and physically after I'm done. And again, I do right now exercise for about 6 days. When I started out, it was a few days in the beginning, but now because I've become so much better, it's easier for me. I do about 6 days right now. And for conclusion, people are obese for many reasons. So we talked about it. It could be anybody from genetics, people, food addiction, sugar addiction, lack of information, lack of support, businesses trying to brainwash you to sell you unhealthy products. And again, how do you change your life? How do you begin? You take action now. You take that 10-minute walk or eat that apple, whatever. You just start today. And then every day add a little bit more, and over time the weight is going to melt off, just like it happened for me. And remember this, after and during the weight loss, do not lose your momentum. Once you lose 10, 15, 20 pounds, keep going. Go achieve your goal. Why wouldn't you achieve your goal? And then also when you lose your weight, don't go back. Don't go back to eating unhealthy foods and going back to gaining weight. When I was younger, I've done this, and there's a lot of mental ups and downs that go along with it. And please don't just maintain your weight loss, and you can. If I can lose over 300 pounds, been maintaining it now altogether for about 8 years. I'm sure anybody else can do it. So, and if you have questions, please ask me. We have this amazing group of speakers here to teach you. We're here to educate you so that you can act on it and change your life for the better. Right now, again, if you have any questions in terms of this presentation, in terms of my journey, in terms of some knowledge, any questions related to this, please, you ask right now, and I'm here to help you out.
Hi, I'm Uma Janalagada, and I'm one of the co-chair for the AAPI Obesity Committee this year. And obesity has become a burden to our nation. And our national obesity rate at present is 42.4%. And nearly half of our country will be obese by 2030. And lockdown is the leading obesity and has possible impact on the second wave of the COVID-19. Let's hear from Dr. B.K. Kishore Garu. He's a professor, currently adjunct faculty in the Department of Internal Medicine and Nutrition and Integrative Physiology and Center on Aging of the University of Utah Health. Until recently, he has been a principal investigator in nephrology at the VA Salt Lake City healthcare system, where he performed research on kidney diseases and obesity, resulting in novel patented therapies. Recently, he founded a startup drug development company called ePurens to develop novel anti-obesity therapies. Dr. Kishore obtained his MD from India, PhD in Belgium, and graduated from Executive MBA from David Eccles School of Business, University of Utah. His distinctions include elected fellowships of American Society of Nephrology, Royal Society of Biology, American Physiological Society, and American Heart Association. Please welcome Dr. Bellankonda Kishore. Vijaya, could you put the presentation from Dr. Kishore Garu?
Yeah, please give me 1 minute.
Hello everyone. First, I would like to thank the AAPI leadership and the Obesity Awareness Committee for organizing this webinar and giving me an opportunity to present. Metabolic and hormonal consequences of fat depots is a big subject to cover in a few minutes of time. So I am going to just present a few thought-provoking facts. It's very easy to accumulate fat. As you can see here, if we can conserve 100 calories per day as a positive energy balance, in a year we will put on more than 10 pounds of fat. But burning that fat is not easy. Adipose tissue is not just a depot storing triglycerides. It's a dynamic tissue that has profound effects on several physiological and metabolic functions in the body, such as controlling appetite and energy balance, blood pressure regulation, or influencing inflammation, immunity, and insulin sensitivity. Thus, fat depots are remarkably active metabolically. The fat stored in the adipocytes is in a state of constant turnover by means of lipogenesis shown in the pink shaded area and lipolysis shown in the green shaded area. In a healthy individual, these two are perfectly balanced like the yin and yang and harmoniously interact with the other organs. Thus, adipose tissue acts like the fuel injection system of an internal combustion engine. This in turn is regulated by hormones such as insulin, glucagon, catecholamines, and different lipases. However, when fat depots expand due to obesity, the fuel injection system is deranged, causing diseases such as diabetes mellitus or metabolic syndrome. Adipocytes continuously produce and release a number of hormones collectively called adipokines, as well as cytokines into the bloodstream. These in turn act on different organs and tissues and influence their functions. The larger the size of the fat depots, the more the amount of adipokines and cytokines produced. This is how different adipokines and cytokines interact with other organs and influence their functions. In addition, vitamin D, which is fat soluble, is sequestered in fat depots. This leads to low bioavailability of vitamin D in obese subjects. One of the reasons why obese subjects are susceptible to COVID-19 infection is low bioavailability of vitamin D. Furthermore, a number of environmental toxins such as polychlorinated organic compounds as well as organic mercurials accumulate in the fat depots and stay there for a long period. These toxins can be released into the bloodstream after bariatric surgery to lose body weight. Men accumulate fat around the belly and the women accumulate fat in lower extremes. As they age, these fat depots affect their androgens or estrogen status. Hormone-dependent breast cancer in pre- and post-menopausal women has different mechanisms. In premenopausal women, the source of estrogens is ovaries, which also promote the accumulation of fat. During the post-menopausal period, fat depots produce estrogens by the action of the enzyme aromatase. The production of estrogens by fat depots and the increased blood levels of insulin and insulin-like growth factors in postmenopausal period may contribute to breast cancer. There is a reciprocal interplay between the white adipose tissue and testicular function. As seen in the upper panel, circulating androgens control adipocyte size and adipose tissue mass. On the other hand, leptin produced by adipose tissue regulates testicular steroidogenesis. As shown in the lower panel, in aging men, decreased androgen production results in expansion of fat mass, leading to insulin resistance, inflammation, hypertension, and decreased immunity. There is increasing evidence for obesity paradox, which is often seen in obese individuals with type 2 diabetes mellitus or metabolic syndrome or chronic kidney disease. Obese subjects with any of these disease conditions paradoxically have lower mortality rate as compared to their age, gender, and body mass index matched obese subjects without any of these disease conditions. As shown here, the mortality rate in obese subjects without chronic kidney disease or the conditions or other conditions is directly related to their BMI, the red line. Paradoxically, in obese subjects with advanced chronic kidney disease, the mortality rate is inversely related to the BMI, the blue line. This illustrates obesity paradox in obese subjects with or without metabolic syndrome. Once again, obese subjects with metabolic syndrome showed lower mortality rate as compared to normal weight subjects with metabolic syndrome, the first and the third lines from the top. We do not know the exact mechanism of obesity paradox, but it seems to be related to metabolic remodeling occurring in obese subjects with these diseases, thus actually improving their survival. In conclusion, as Neil deGrasse Tyson's wisdom says, one of the great challenges in the world is knowing enough about a subject to think we are right, but not enough about the subject to know we are wrong. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Kishore Garu. Hello. Morning, everyone. I am Padmaja Adisimalli, one of the co-chairs of Obesity Committee for our AAPI. I am extremely happy to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Swarna Mandali. As you guessed, she received a doctorate from Oklahoma State University in nutrition. She is a professor of nutrition at University of Central Missouri, and she had been teaching medical nutrition therapy for future dietitians for the past 20 years. She's a registered dietitian with 22 years of experience, especially with expertise in nutrition education and counseling for Asian Indian community on obesity and type 2 diabetes. Thank you, Swarna, for being my partner in our community education projects for the last few years, as well as for a long time in the future. Here, Dr. Swarna Mandali on diet and nutrition. Thank you.
I'm now posted in Amma. Put pictures. You can take screenshots.
You can see in this slide, prevalence of obesity is increasing at a rapid pace due to an increase in energy intake in India. The authors of this study used a prediction model and stated that the prevalence of overweight will double and obesity prevalence will triple by 2040. The obesity prevalence is increasing in the rest of the world as well. Parallel to the rise in overweight and obesity, the prevalence of chronic conditions like type 2 diabetes is also increasing worldwide. By 2030, it is estimated that about 439 million adults will be diagnosed as diabetic, and there will be an increase in these numbers in the developing countries compared to developed. So the body mass index is often used to classify obesity, but for Asians, the cutoff points are lower than the other ethnicities. An Asian with a BMI of 23 to 27.5 is classified as being overweight, and a BMI of more than 27.5 as obese. The bigger the portions, the higher the calories. The fundamental rule of weight management is that people gain weight when they eat more calories than they expend. Consumers often get confused with the portions and servings. Portions is the amount of food that person would choose to eat, whereas the serving is the measured amount of food or a drink. Let's look at this avocado for an example. 1/3 medium California avocado contains about 80 calories, 8 grams of fat. Suppose that if I didn't pay attention to this 1/3 as a serving size, I ate a full avocado, then literally I would be consuming 3 times the fat, that is 8 grams with 1/3 serving, but I consumed one whole avocado for lunch. So I'm getting about 24 grams of fat per day, just with the avocado. Suppose if I am on a 1200 calorie diet, trying to lose weight, Maximum amount of fat grams allowed for a 1200 calorie diet would be about 40 grams, that is 30% of calories coming from fat. So out of the 40 grams of fat, I already taken out 23 grams. So rest of the day, I need to be very careful and making sure I'm only consuming 17 grams of fat that comes from other food items. So making sure that the client really knows how to look at the food label and knowing the serving sizes and how to cut down the serving sizes in order to meet their calorie requirements and the fat intake requirements is very important. Following a healthy eating pattern over time will help support a healthy body weight and reduce the risk of chronic diseases. Either DASH eating patterns, Mediterranean eating patterns, or My Plate Plan, healthy eating pattern limits the intake of saturated fats, sodium, and added sugars. So encouraging the client to choose a variety of nutrient-dense foods from each food group in recommended amounts is important. So as you can see that in My Plate Plan, half the plate is covered with fruits and vegetables, and the grains and the protein are the other half. So the grains are also like divided into whole grains, at least 3 servings per day, and the dairy, low-fat milk and dairy products, and high-quality protein coming from animal sources or the plant sources that provide all the essential amino acids is very important. Recommendations related to the appropriate portions need to consider the energy density of the food to be consumed. It is the combined influence of energy density and portion size that drives the calorie intake. So simply telling people to eat less of everything may not be the most effective message. Instead, messages should be focused on encouraging people to consume a greater portion of their diet from foods lower in energy density like fruits and vegetables, while limiting portions of high energy dense foods like oils and cheese, etc. Healthy eating patterns also include incorporating whole grains into the diet. Whole grains are a source of nutrients such as dietary fiber, iron, zinc, manganese, folate. So having at least 3 servings of whole grains per day will help with the fiber intake as well as the other nutrients. So looking for 100% whole grain stamp or even a 50% whole grain stamp would help identify what foods that are actually considered as whole grains. Incorporating healthy oils rich in monounsaturated fats as well as keeping the oil intake to a minimum will help with the weight management. So you can see that 1 tablespoon of oil yields about 15 grams of fat. So the seasoning, the tadaka and all or deep frying need to be kept at a minimum level. The most accurate way to monitor portion sizes is to measure out food with a scale and measuring cup. However, this is not realistic at many eating occasions. So reducing the plate size as well as making the plate, half of the plate filled with vegetables and other nutrient-dense foods, and only 1/3 of the other half of the plate is filled with carbohydrates like rice and roti, can help achieve calorie control. The most popular sweetener in the world, sugar, was invented in India. Was encouraged to cut down on the sugar consumption by choosing dry fruits, decreasing the sugar in coffee and tea, and drinking water, at least 8 glasses of water per day instead of drinking carbonated beverages or sugar sweetened beverages will help with the calorie control and also with the weight management. The bottom line to weight control is that the number of calories people consume must not exceed the number of calories they expend. A good way to self-monitor is by keeping a daily log of the food consumption patterns and the physical activity. As you can see in the study, results show that the degree of adherence to monitoring of food intake, physical activity, and the weight is directly proportional to the weight loss. There are several apps that are available for free of cost for the clients to use and track their food consumption patterns and the physical activity. A registered dietitian nutritionist can help with assessing the diet quality of the client and to make recommendations on the food substitutions to achieve overall health and well-being. List of dietitians in each state that are available for nutrition counseling can be found at Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is the United States' largest organization of food and nutrition, and it represents registered dietitians who are the credentialed practitioners. The site is a resource for science-based nutrition and food and nutrition information.
Let me introduce my next speaker, Dr. Kevin J. Finn, PhD. He's a professor of kinesiology in the School of Nutrition, Kinesiology and Psychological Science at the University of Central Missouri. Dr. Finn is a fellow of the American College of Sports Medicine, the former director of the Youth Fitness and Obesity Institute of the University of Northern Iowa, and a 2012 Fulbright Scholar in Hungary. His scholarship has included physical activity assessment of preschool-age children, youth fitness for school-age children, and most recently changes in appetite hormones during acute weight loss in adults. Welcome, Dr. Kevin Finn.
Well, thank you for that kind introduction, and I want to thank the AAPI organizing committee for inviting me to be a part of this webinar. My title, my talk is Exercise is Medicine, and what I want to do in this short period of time is to provide you a historical perspective of the exercise in medicine and where it came from. Really look at how it's EIM in action and how it's being used today, and what are some other current resources for you as a healthcare provider. The amount of data that supports physical activity as a health benefit has been generated over the last probably 50 to 60 years, and it really was combined in the Surgeon General's report, the synopsis of all the supporting data on that, so that physical activity and health provide us the basis. And of course, in this country, the recognition that physical activity does provide, in this case, a better health protection, and as well as prevention for certain diseases. Now, from that, and initially it generated past the 1996 publication of the Surgeon General's report, tools for physicians to educate their patients. And one of the primary one that was introduced was the Patient-Centered Assessment and Counseling for Exercise, or PACE as the acronym. And I want to give some credit to James Salas from San Diego State University. Him with the CDC's, the Centers of Disease Control, provided a framework by which they created this program, and I will say that this was a provider-based physical activity program using behavioral counseling strategies to provide more awareness and education. Now, in 2012, in obesity research, the efficacy and effectiveness of the PACE program has been reported. Barbara Ainsworth at the University of South Carolina at the time did a very good synopsis of what was going on, and of course linked to some of the studies. And you can use this DOI.org website to see this research at your convenience. But I think it was a very useful tool. It still is provided and quite honestly has demonstrated good efficacy and effectiveness in using, again, primary health providers a mechanism for promoting physical activity in their patients. Well, exercise is medicine. In this case, the acronym EIM was developed based on a partnership between the American Medical Association and the American College of Sports Medicine. It was launched in 2007. And really, it was, you can see the vision here is to make physical activity assessment promotion the standard for healthcare. and in this case provide evidence-based physical activity resources to people else everywhere with all their abilities. So in other words, it did provide a mechanism to explain and really build upon the PACE program to develop a campaign by which we include health provider education for their patients. Well, EIM in action is a phrase that's linked to exercise as medicine. Using the links that I provided you here, the YouTube here for solutions. You can play this video at your convenience. It's a very good educational tool. It does provide some understanding of the mechanism by which EIM has developed the PACE program. One of the things that was viewed as a barrier is the time that a physician could actually spend with their patients and what kind of follow-up they could actually do. And I think EIM has developed from that strategy and those barriers an ability to really network with others. And I think probably the best outcome of EIM is that, first of all, it does recognize and builds upon existing data, the efficacy and the effectiveness of using a health provider to promote their patients to engage in more physical activity. But it also provides resources that links them to other individuals and other programs. So if you look at the key steps for the healthcare providers, of course, is to assess every patient's level of physical activity at when they come for a visit, and really look at, determine if they're meeting the 2018 physical activity guidelines. Of course, we expect a little bit of counseling. Generally, about 2 to 5 minutes has been viewed as feasible, and whether there's actually any kind of exercise prescription used, but I think the concept of general advice and counseling is included in that. And then finally, to take that referral system to an appropriate resource, and that can, again, include professionals, or if they're self-directed, resources within the community to continue. Now, one of the main resources is an action plan, and I provided you the link to that, and in this case, it's under exercisesmedicine.org, and the action plan includes a series of step-by-step processes, and of course, tools to be used by which we can provide to the healthcare provider, and of course, their support staff, instruments that will allow them to assess levels of physical activity, really look at their altitude, and quite honestly, the readiness for change in this physical activity behavior, and of course, within that, recognize what are some of the community-based and or professionals out there that might help them reach their goals. There's other resources that EIM has provided too, and there is a research learning collaborative webinar series that's provided, and with that, of course, there's reporting by individuals on the abilities to engage in this type of activity. It's a very useful resource, and of course, going to the web page for EIM provides a link for that webinar. Other resources, health impact of physical activity, and I've highlighted physical activity in healthcare because that specific icon does link you again back to our guide, and really does emphasize the importance of physical activity in patient care, and so I emphasize that to you as healthcare providers. This is some of the things that we might want to consider in our practice. The last part is the Global Research and Collaborative Center, and one of the things is that we have recognition by a number of countries, 37 countries in total, that there is in this case, there's a common theme that we want to engage more healthcare providers in physical activity promotion. And so you'll see that global network, and it's actually developed within the annual meeting of the American College of Sports Medicine, and understanding of ways that we can do that. So I think one of the things is that we want to look for this not as just a national campaign, but actually a global campaign. Yeah, I thank you for your time and your attention. And as you see, that exercise is medicine, but your movement is also medicine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Good morning. My name is Dr. Pooja Kinkabwala. I am another one of the co-chairs of the Obesity Awareness Committee, and I'm also an endocrinologist in Miami, Florida. It is my honor to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Hira Nair. She is a professor of psychology at the Kansas City, Kansas Community College, and is also the coordinator of the Teacher Education Program. She earned her doctoral degree in lifespan human development and psychology from the Kansas State University and a master's of education from Xavier University of Louisiana. She was born and raised in India and received her undergraduate education in India as well. She believes that education is transformative and psychology prepares students to live an introspective and collaborative life. She has recently joined efforts with AAPI to educate the local community about food addiction and anti-obesity. She works tirelessly on social justice issues within the context of the community and around the globe. Recently, she received a sub-award as part of the federal K-Step Up grant. This partnership grant awarded to the Kansas State University College of Education is a Kansas statewide teacher education pathway for the underserved and place-bound students. She serves as the academic liaison and community outreach member on the executive committee of the India Association of Kansas City. Her work on the board of the United Nations Association of Greater Kansas City is a testimonial to her philosophy of think globally, act locally. She actively participates in building community awareness of important global issues such as hunger and the importance of educating the girl child. She serves on the Andrew W. Mellon Undergraduate Curatorial Fellowship Committee of the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art. This committee helps to encourage college students into the fields of art curation. She values this project as it promotes and educates college students from diverse ethnic backgrounds in the curatorial field. She lives in Lexington, Kansas with her husband of 22 years, Srinivas Kohli, and their 3 children, Kavya, Anuva, and Varun. Dr. Hira Nair.
Thank you for that introduction. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for attending this webinar conference on No Obesity Revolution. It is a great honor for me to be part of this movement. You are the elite of medicine, and I'm truly, truly humbled to have been invited to contribute my understanding of the psychological connection between self with food. From my heart, I thank the AAPI board, President Dr. Sudhakar, and my friend and local KC stalwart, Dr. Padmaja. I am energized by this momentum created by several of you. It is one thing to recognize that obesity is the bedrock of other health concerns, but it is yet another to organize a movement and take action. Thank you, Dr. Uma, for the impetus to that end. I selected the topic dopamine and donuts only because I'm a logophile or a word nerd. My talk is focused on the following. What drives us? What is the neurobiology of overeating? What is the role of conditioning? And how to modify behavior? So let me talk about motivation. In this slide, you will see a list of influential theories of motivation. But first, before we get into them, I just wanted to talk about the foundation of exactly what motivation is. We must understand that motivation is a combination of biological, emotional, cognitive, and social forces that act on or within us, initiating and directing behavior. It requires 3 basic characteristics: activation, persistence, and intensity. Activation is where there is initiation or production of a behavior. You want to be a volunteer in a food bank, so you will try to achieve that goal. Persistence is demonstrated by continued efforts or determination to achieve a particular goal, often when faced with obstacles. So even when you have too much work to do, or you have new COVID mandates, there's less food to contribute to the food bank, you still persist. And intensity is the great vigor of responding. So some days you are high energy, some days you are low energy, because it depends on the goal for the day and your ability to make a combination of biological, emotional, cognitive, and social forces to be acting within you. So in this slide, I want us to pay attention to 2 particular influential theories. One is incentive theory and one is humanistic theory. Incentive theory describes that behavior is motivated by external goals such as rewards, money, recognition, etc. We are very familiar with incentive theory in society. Humanistic theory is Maslow and Carl Rogers' explanation that the psychological and cognitive components is human motivation. Our motivation is affected by perceptions of ourselves, the world, how we think about ourselves and others, and our beliefs about our abilities and skills. We constantly try to realize our highest potential. That's good news, I would say. This, they say, could be jeopardized by the absence of a supportive social and cultural environment. Before we talk about the psychobiology of overeating, let's talk about the difference between hunger and eating. Simply stated, hunger is a biological motive, but eating behavior such as when, how much, and how often is motivated by a complex interaction of social, emotional, cultural, psychological, and biological factors. This leads us to the neurobiology of overeating. As recently as 2013, King and others did a study about instinctual behavior in food-abundant societies such as ours. Of course, they studied that foraging or hunting and gathering for food no longer exists, but we wait in drive-through lanes to get our food. They also found that people today are simply not motivated to eat because they are hungry or are suffering from depleted energy sources. Rather, we are enticed by the anticipated pleasure of highly palatable food. When foods have high positive incentive value readily available, we overeat. This seminar is on no obesity, but one critical factor in psychological terms is how obesity affects our mental state. For example, obesity tends to correlate with depression, but hopefully we'll get to it another day. So looking at the slide, you can tell that food causes the dopamine neurons to release the dopamine. Dopamine takes over the entire sensation of pleasure and satisfaction, which is what we get from looking at the food that we desired or anticipated. And addicted brain of overeating shows the reduced function of prefrontal cortex and the cingulate gyrus, which are really the decision-making centers of our brain. So we form a strong relationship through this between salience, that means the relevance of that food and how it made us feel, that means an emotional amygdala reaction, and the memory area gets stimulated as well. So we keep going back to the same food because we think it made us feel good. So by this, we develop a cycle of abuse and tolerance. On this slide, you will note that there's a landmark study done by Wang, which states that number of dopamine receptors decreased as BMI increased, which means that we do have an addictive quality to food. The premise that chronic exposure to drugs, in this case food, progressively manipulates the prefrontal cortex until decision-making and judging the consequence of one's own actions becomes very difficult. Treatment for chronic drug addicts presently involves cognitive behavior therapy. It attempts to break down the dopamine cycle and slows down to include other motivational cycles. Let's talk about how conditioning impacts our eating behavior. Let's first talk about classical conditioning. It occurs when individuals learn to associate one thing in their environment with another due to personal experience. For example, you may associate the thoughts of your mother or father with good, satisfying comfort food, or associate an ad with the feeling or dopamine hit that the food provided. This association means that we train our brains to make connections where connections don't necessarily have to exist. In operant conditioning, it is a process that occurs when individuals learn to predict outcomes of given behaviors based on the outcomes they've experienced for the same behaviors in the past. Think about the last time you told your significant other, we must accept so-and-so's invitation to dinner because he or she cooks amazing food. Also true would be if you receive compliments from significant and valued people in your environment about how you look after your weight loss. The challenge is to transform this external motivation to intrinsic motivation, which is more likely to help us stay fit and eat healthy. In conclusion, how do we fight this good fight? I hope through this presentation, we have learned that we can modify our own behavior. What is learned can be unlearned or at the very least be altered. Pause. think, gather data and be informed, find extrinsic reinforcements that are meaningful, share successes and failures openly with others, be introspective, and stay well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. At this point in time, I would like to turn everybody's attention to our president, Dr. Sudhakar Jonalagada, who is going to talk a little bit about our initiative and perform the ribbon cutting ceremony for our new phase in our Nobesity awareness campaign.
Is it 12:12? Pooja, is it 12:12?
Almost. It is 5 till.
Okay.
Pooja, let's do it 10 minutes past 12.
10 minutes past 12? Okay.
Yes. So let me introduce Dr. Janaki now. I think we have 15 minutes. Okay?
Yeah.
Is that okay? All right. Yeah. Let me introduce Dr. P. Janaki Srinath. She's my dear friend and schoolmate. She is the senior popular nutritionist and faculty at the Department of Foods and Nutrition, College of Community Science at PJTSAU, Hyderabad. She has a very impressive biodata. She is a gold medalist in Masters, Foods and Nutrition, research fellowship holder, and has done her PhD in biochemistry. She is the founder of NutriFit, Diet, Nutrition and Therapeutic Weight Management Center, a referral center in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, providing exclusive nutrition, therapeutic lifestyle management services. She has earlier worked as head of Department of Nutrition at Fernandez Hospitals, a tertiary reference center for maternal and neonatal care for 2 decades. She has contributed extensively in print, television, and YouTube channels and has over 3 million views. She's a regular columnist in the popular newspaper, Eenadu. She was a member of the editorial boards of Journal of Indian Dietetic Association and the Journal of Obesity and Metabolic Research. She was former president, Indian Dietetic Association, AAPI Chapter. She is a National Executive Committee member, former Vice President of AIAARO, All India Association of Advancing Research in Obesity. Currently, she's a NEC member, Nutrition Society of India. Please welcome Dr. P. Janaki Srinath.
Foods and Nutrition, Professor Jaishankar, Telangana Agriculture University on 27th. Warm greetings to all from India. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Sudhakar Garu and Dr. Uma Garu for giving me this opportunity to participate in this webinar. Based on the WhatsApp discussions from various members of the Obesity Committee, we have begun the small campaign at our place, College of Community Science Department of Foods and Nutrition, Professor Jaishankar, Telangana Agriculture University on 27th August 2020, and we have begun after discussing with other members of the faculty, and we started doing this, and we had a very good enthusiastic participation for the last 14 weeks, and we never miss unless we are absent. So I had a lot of discussions with the colleagues and as well as Dr. Uma on giving this campaign a structure, and then on ways to engage other members or scaling up of this campaign to other members. And as I was reading through, I have realized that most of the healthcare sector uses either community coalitions with other organizations, which is a formalized approach, and community engagement offers a less structural framework. So I think, this Wear Yellow workplace obesity and prevention program can be more of structured on as a community engagement program, and Jones and Wells 2007 defined it as community engagement refers to values, strategies, and actions that support authentic partnerships, including mutual respect and active inclusive participation, power sharing and equity, mutual benefit, or finding a win-win possibility, and flexibility in pursuing goals, methods, and time frames to fit priorities, needs, and capacity of communities. So Goldberger et al. Have published this in Journal of Prevention and Child Care, and this particular strategies I would like to share so that we can actually base our Wear Yellow workplace wellness campaign on these core principles. Core principle 1: promote asset building, recognize strengths, begin the process. Core principle 3: be inclusive and value equity. Get to know people who are formal and informal leaders, stakeholders. Strive to engage everyone possible. Be generous in giving credit to all involved. Emphasize consent rather than control. Focus on social networking and social engagement rather than imposing a power structure. Be non-competitive. Core principle 4: value informality and flexibility. Create engagement strategies that are organic rather than formalized and structured. Be attuned to changes in the community and shifts in perception. Identify partners that will carry your shared message forward. Workplace obesity prevention community engagement can also be done on multiple social media platforms, and the structure has to integrate the social media platforms, but there should be some definitions is what I felt. That's the reason I have not shared any of these photos or any content on the social media as of now. Because until unless we define, we may not have a rigid structure, but there should be some kind of definition. So social media offers very good platform for engagement, and so we should be able to build an open activities should be based on member cohorts. It could be different for different groups, like diet strategies, recipes, physical activity, behavior change. Run competitions and reward. Conduct occasional competitions in the community in a healthy and friendly manner. Add game mechanics like badges, repetition scores to engage the community. Entertain with fun content. Ensure that community members are invested in our activity, preferably with time, and also they complete their profile, and so that they keep getting updates regularly. And onboard new members, the process of onboarding also has to be defined. So our experiences so far have been very positive, and all our members are engaged into the concept of wellness and the concept of diet and exercise or behavior change. Each one has different area to work on. It helped us to focus, it helped us to implement, it helped us to monitor the effect, and it's also sustaining our interest because we are challenged with a very tough job. However, we did face some challenges, like on holidays what to do, and we could not add any other services except for taking photograph or checking weight occasionally and having 2-3 minutes of chat on on what happened the last week. And we could not promote rigorously in the other staff members or other groups because of the lack of system of sharing and engagement. So based on the social engagement, community engagement strategies, AAPI should be able to define what principles and strategies it would like to adhere if it takes up this campaign. And based on several other health, programs which were implemented in healthcare settings, we can define and scale up the program and pick up the right strategies to engage the community constantly, because obesity happens continuously, and today many millions of people across the world are engaged in some form of the other activity to control their weight. Which process of community engagement explicitly connect to obesity prevention outcomes has to be defined. Which community engagement efforts can be uniquely effective in a community, so that substantial barriers, we have to pick up different challenges and solutions from previous studies, and or we ourselves can scale up and work out on a better strategy. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah. Pooja, we have 3 minutes. Actually, we have exactly 5 minutes more before Dr. Sudhakar Janalgada, the president, is going to cut the yellow ribbon exactly at 12 seconds past 12 minutes past 12 noon on 12/12/2020. So, and following that, I will light a lamp. So we have about 5 minutes. So I request Dr. Janalgada to read the proclamations that he got from the governor of Georgia, and also the proclamation by AAPI, the American Association of Physicians of Indian Origin.
Thank you, Dr. Kodali. Sorry. Vijaya, can you put the slide on, please? Can you enlarge a little more? Okay, thank you. Okay. Again, thank you very much all for joining today and support our program today. AAPI is very proud get this proclamation from Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. Obesity Prevention Month. Whereas obesity is a global and national public health challenges that impact our families, our healthcare system, and our economy. The American Association of Physicians of Indian Origin, AAPI, is leading the change to raise attention and safeguard the health of our people through obesity awareness, and whereas Obesity Committee has taken initiative December 12th of each year to educate and empower individuals, organizing health and obesity walkathon and events and promoting the Wear Yellow campaign. And whereas yellow represents energy, motivation, hope, optimism, joy, and happiness. The Wear Yellow campaign seeks to raise awareness about the issue of obesity through educating and encouraging individuals to live a healthy lifestyle now. I, Brian P. Kemp, Governor of the State of Georgia, do hereby proclaim December 2020 as Obesity Prevention Month in Georgia, and encourage all the Georgians to join AAPI Obesity Committee in wearing yellow on December 12th for obesity awareness. Thank you, and let's hope for the best in future. Brian Kemp, Governor of Georgia.
Dr. Sudhakar, do you want to read the proclamation? Yeah.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh. Okay. So basically, the proclamation is very similar to the proclamation by the governor of Georgia. So we have 2 more minutes. I think I can maybe read some of it before the next 2 minutes. The American Association of Physicians of Indian Origin proclamation. Whereas the greatest responsibility we have as a medical association is to safeguard the health and well-being of our people. And whereas obesity is one of the most serious public health challenges of the 21st century, and and is now a national and global epidemic. And whereas obesity causes a broad range of serious health problems, including high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, heart disease, strokes, and some cancers. If this continues, the next generation is expected to have a shorter lifespan than the current one. And whereas obesity and its associated health risks also impose great costs on families, our healthcare system, and our economy. And whereas the AAPI Obesity Committee has taken the initiative on December 12th of the year 2012, 8 years ago, to educate and empower individuals by organizing health and obesity walkathons and events and promoting Wear Yellow for obesity awareness. Yellow, as we said, is for representing energy, motivation, hope, optimism, joy, and happiness to help individuals lead healthy lifestyles. And whereas in USA and the world, we know when we come together and work on issues together, we make progress and can build a healthier tomorrow. Now, therefore, the American Association of Physicians of Indian origin hereby proclaims during this webinar titled Obesity Revolution, Fight Obesity, Wear Yellow on December 12th of the year 2020 to Wear Yellow for Obesity Awareness, signed by Dr. Sudhakar Janalagadda, President AAPI, and signed by Uma Koduri, Chair AAPI Obesity Committee. Thank you. It's exactly 12 minutes past. Pooja?
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Sudhakar is going to cut the yellow ribbon.
Yes, we're at exactly 12:12 on 12/12/2020.
So everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. As the President of National AAPI, I, Sudhakar Janalagadda, declared December 12th as Obesity Awareness Day for AAPI.
I'm going to light the lamp.
Dr. Uma Koduri will light the lamp to signify the spread of light of knowledge about health education and also obesity prevention. Dr. Uma Koduri.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here it is, the knowledge.
Can you see the lamp?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I put a black background so you can see it.
It looks good.
All right. Next, Pooja, what do we have on the
I believe we have time for a couple of questions first. There were a couple of questions that we wanted to address that were sent through the chat before we get to our exercise portion with our AAPI Zumba dance. So the first question is actually directed towards Dr. Koduri, and that is about the plans to incorporate veterans and minority communities in our Obesity revolution.
Yes, it's a good question. We actually started our Veteran Obesity Awareness Campaign on May 20th of 2017 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was a very big event. The mayor of the city had come, the director of the VA Medical Center, Jackson Montgomery, had come, even Mr. Momer Dachtek, he came all the way from Canada. So that was a very big event for the veterans, and that was a pilot program. And following that, 12 AAPI leaders in 12 medical centers did obesity awareness events for the veterans. Actually, Dr. Padmaja Adusmili, she has been doing it every year. I think she did it 3 times so far at the World War Memorial. So the AAPI actually they allocated thousands of dollars to promote this, and our goal is to do it in at least 100 VA medical centers across the nation. So far we did 12, so that part is done. Now regarding the minorities, when we do all these events, we have been trying to do it in the schools, and we did more than 100 schools across the nation. And the schools also involved the minorities, but that's a good question. We should also target the minorities and teach them how to live healthy with small, and help them to eat healthy with less cost. That will be, that is what we should be doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There is an additional question that just popped up about malnutrition in the USA and in India. Not sure if anyone wants to address that.
Yeah, we look at.
We are planning on doing some events about the malnutrition, how we can elevate, take care of the malnutrition, even in the richest country in the world, US, by balanced diet, and malnutrition, lack of resources in India, such as poor countries. We do our planning, and there are some of our AAPI members, Dr. Alok Agarwal and certain friends, they have been doing that, feeding poor children and also actually whole villages during this COVID month. And we would share those news pretty soon in our newsletter. They have been giving groceries, weekly groceries. They've been distributing it all over the area near Hyderabad area to a lot of rural areas where they lost their job and income and their livelihood. Each bag would have rice and lentils and a lot of other things they've been distributing. So I'm sure Dr. Sunita Polepalli had a center in Vizag area. I heard that she is doing something. So we are at that place now, trying to bring in more members to make it as a bigger global movement. And there was another question, Pooja, if you could answer about the availability of this recording session.
Yes, these recordings, so if anyone wants to go back, rewatch these sessions, the entire webinar will be available on the AAPI Facebook page and the AAPI website after today.
Pooja, I want to say one thing. Can I?
Yeah, sure.
I want to thank you, the officers joined today, Dr. Satish Katula and Dr. Ravi Kohli, and the chair of BOT in the past, Dr. Seema Arora, and several members have joined. Thank you very much for supporting the program today. Thank you.
And I would like to thank our chair, Dr. Uma Koduri, for starting this movement, and also my co-chairs, Dr. Uma Jonalagadda, Dr. Pooja Kinkapwala, for helping us with all their might in organizing this event. And I would like to thank all of our speakers for taking valuable time out of their lives in preparing and checking back and forth in spite of these country borders, all the way from Canada and India. I would like to thank them. And also Ms. Kodali, Ms. Vijaya Kodali, for making sure she had everyone calling and keeping in touch with. So I would like to help, I would like to thank every one of you for attending this session and making us feel more supported to keep doing these kind of events more and more in the future. Thank you.
The last thing on the flyer, the agenda, is the introducing the AAPI signature dance for exercise. Okay. So far, we are still in the process of doing the choreography, but all the participants can learn one very simple AAPI signature step, which you can just follow me. It is AAPI by human letters. Okay, so basically it's A. Okay, you all can do this. A, and P like a salute. And I, you just take your hands up and drop it down in a namaste. So we want to do this to the background music of Jai Ho song, because it got so many Oscars and everybody knows it globally. So basically it is A-A-P-I. So we're going to, yeah, so A-A-P-I. So we are going to incorporate this AAPI signature step in a 30-minute exercise video. We are going to call it dancer size. Okay, so it's going to be a 30-minute, very specific dance, 30 minutes long, and we are looking for incorporating the most famous popular songs from each of the 7 continents, including Antarctica. Since Antarctica is, everybody associates penguins with the Antarctica, we're going to end it with like a penguin dance. So this 30-minute dance, we're going to make it like very nice, and people can use it for a 30 minutes exercise from here onwards. Thank you. I think we are done with this.
We still have 8 minutes, Uma, if anyone has questions.
Yes, there was one last question, and I think Dr. Nair, you would be a good person to answer this question. It was about antidepressant use associated with obesity independent of depression.
So I was looking at that question, Pooja, and thank you for asking. Since I'm not a MD, like a psychiatrist, I refrain from answering a question that's specific to medication. But I do know that some of the research resides in separate silos, with obesity and depression in separate silos. They're not so far deeply connected in the medical profession. So when treatment of depression is done, it is based on the emotional, mental, diagnosis, as opposed to connected with obesity. However, nutrition science and psychological science has been studying that connection is present. So I'm hoping that in the future, we will see a diagnosis that's the opposite, that when you come for an obesity treatment, you're also looking at the diagnosis of antidepressants. So I don't think I answered the question absolutely directly, but I did attempt to answer based on how much I know. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm actually going to kind of expand on that a little bit. As far as what I'm seeing in my own personal practice, we do see that there are certain classes of medications, certain classes of antidepressants that may be related to obesity more than others, such as more of like the atypical antipsychotics as opposed to standard SSRIs, SNRIs. We're also seeing that some patients react to it differently, and some patients may have weight gain associated with SSRI use where others don't. So it all kind of just depends from patient to patient, but when you have that whole psychological treatment aspect going along with it, medication use plus counseling, CBT, plus dietary modifications and physical activity, we see that the whole picture together is what's leading to treatment, weight loss, and overall treatment of their obesity and prevention of further complications.
Okay, that was great. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
One line. As the depression gets better, they do take more chances of going out, meeting with friends, doing exercises, choosing a better options for that diet also. It's all in all way, it helps getting the depression getting treated. We do have our President-elect, Dr. Ravi Kohli, as a psychiatrist. If he could join 1 or 2 lines of wisdom about this.
Sure, thank you, thank you. And I want to congratulate all the board obesity committee chairs and the vice chairs for their phenomenal work in motivating, educating, and making it a celebration of life and health and wealth. Health is the wealth, right? So they're really making an impact on all our members and secondarily, all the patients they treat. I really appreciate and applaud their efforts, and I want to kind of promise that we will carry forward these missions and these projects that are such a phenomenal.
As a psychiatrist, what's your opinion?
Like Padmaja was mentioning, 25% of the patients who take SSRIs do gain weight, a significant amount, and there are other medications that also cause significant weight gain. And we know exercise is the best antidepressant actually, and mostly least prescribed antidepressant. If we can prescribe exercise as a treatment, we'll have the double benefit of not only promoting weight loss as well as treating the depression. So that's the downside of the antidepressants. There are a few antidepressants that are not as significant with weight gain, like Wellbutrin and other things. Sometimes we augment some other medications to kind of utilize their side effects that cause loss of appetite to mitigate the weight gain that we see from SSRIs. So yes, SSRIs are associated with weight gain, and there are some minimal not such a promising strategies, but there are some strategies to kind of counter that. So, but exercise is the best antidepressant and least used antidepressant. If we can promote that as family practitioners, clinicians, to all our patients, we'll be doing a great service. Thank you.
So one more point, I'm sorry, is as Dr. Kishore Garu mentioned, weight gain may not be the worst thing if you could gain a little bit weight. I think as he mentioned in his obesity paradox, if you could mention that, Dr. Kishore Garu, one more time.
Yeah, it's can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very important thing, you know, if you look in the, in countries like India, almost 1/3 of the diabetic patients, especially on the rural side, are not obese. And this is an alarming situation because these people actually have higher mortality than the diabetic patients with overweight and obesity. And apparently, as long as you don't have any of these diseases, leanness is a good thing to live long. But once you get any of these diseases, it is better to gain some weight, not to be very lean, and we don't know how it protects. And it's well established, and it's a very puzzling thing, and probably I will write an article on it later. Yeah, that is very important. It's not to lose too much fat, especially when you have diseases.
Yes, especially elderly patients, we don't want them to lose weight. So if you are a little bit overweight, don't worry too much. That's what I want to convey at the end.
Provided you are exercising and eating a balanced diet.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't have a problem with losing weight.
and one more thing is, I think we are taking this obesity awareness into that level. Dr. Uma, we are also planning on doing the lifestyle medicine. This is where we are going to take that into lifestyle medicine. It's more like with diet and exercise and that way in coming year.
Yeah, one more small point I want to add. Actually, we Indians, we had another cutoff, BMI cutoff. We are not using the WHO cutoff. In fact, we classify our population based on Indian consensus BMI cutoff. So our cutoffs are between 23 and 25. We call them as overweight, and anything above 25 is obesity.
Yes.
Okay, because Indians have more body fat. Of course, there are several reasons for that. So, and then obviously our diet is loaded with carbohydrates, and maybe we end up having visceral fat. So I think drastic weight loss at any point for anybody we do not recommend. It is the fat we want to reduce, and we want to increase the muscle percentage irrespective of what weight they are.
Also, I just want to mention that one thing, salt intake. Salt intake should be cut down. Less than 5 grams a day.
Yes.
Less than 5 grams means less than a teaspoon on the whole day. So it reduces the hypertension, reduces the risk of the stroke and heart disease. And our
Yes,
sugar content should be less than total 10% of the daily intake. Less than 10%. And
I
then
just want to,
and the fats,
Padmaja, I just want to talk about the lifestyle medicine. The American College of Lifestyle Medicine, which was formed in 2004, recommends that the primary therapeutic modality for treatment and reversal, keyword, treatment and reversal of chronic diseases, including obesity, are the 6 pillars. Okay, the first one is a whole food, plant predominant diet. Second one, regular physical activity. Third one is restorative sleep. Fourth one is stress management. Fifth one is positive social connections. And the sixth one is avoidance of tobacco and other unhealthy habits. So basically, we have to incorporate this lifestyle medicine for all these chronic diseases, including obesity. So AAPI will be working on this, moving forward, along with the workplace wellness that Dr. Janaki Srinath started in India. Because the workplace wellness, we can do it with social distancing because of the COVID pandemic. We cannot do any more group activities at this time, like how we have been doing for the past 8 years. So everybody actually can look up on the internet about lifestyle medicine and educate themselves. So basically it is minimal or no meat and no meat, no eggs, no milk products, dairy products, so
that's beautiful. We'll talk more about it.
Yeah, we're at that time. We're at the 12:30 time point right now.
Yeah.
So
Dr. Satish Katala, I would give him a 1 minute time to give his message to us.
Sure. Thank you so much for doing it. You have been really a big asset for AAPI in pushing this thing forward. Dr. Uma Kuduri and Dr. Padmaja Adusamilli, you have done a fantastic job. And I remember I was on this committee in the beginning for veterans obesity like years ago. And then after seeing your energy and enthusiasm, I could not really match with you guys. So I stepped down and you are leading it and you're doing a wonderful job. And excellent speakers today. I thank them all for coming and enlightening us with their knowledge. And it's great. And anything you need from AAPI, we are there for you. Thank you.
Yeah. So one last thing, Dr. Anupama Gotimukula, if you're here, could you please say a few words, because she is into this lifestyle medicine.
And she's upcoming president too.
Yeah, she's the president-elect, Dr. Anupama.
Yeah, she's not able to join. She's on call, and her hospital Wi-Fi connection is not allowing firewall connecting.
Okay.
Yes.
You guys want to show the video before you conclude? I mean,
the exercise, the dance.
Yes.
Is it okay if I say a couple of words before we end, or?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say we're, as everybody can see right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic, for a lockdown. And I just wanted to say, not only are we going to defeat COVID, we will also defeat obesity. But even if we're still in a lockdown, we can still start doing something. So let's not use the COVID as an excuse, but actually let's start doing something small. Start making small changes, not only in the foods that we eat, but also in the exercises. And I'm sure most of us, we stay most of our day in the house and depression is coming. So even 10 minutes walk can help you make that difference. That's all I want to say.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for the tips.
Dr. Padmaja, I just wanted to quickly say, this is Hira, and I wanted to say that love and food are unrelated to each other. So we come from a collectivistic culture. We associate emotion, love, and food. And in my presentation, I can do a whole hour on love and food.
Yeah.
So we
I have to tell that to my mother and my sister-in-law not to feed me when I go to
so that we get hijacked with that relationship. So if physicians would take that forward to all your patients, I would suggest that strongly. Thank you so much.
And please give us a feedback whether you would like to have similar sessions in the future.
Okay.
My suggestion is, can we have one on muscle physiology?
Yes, I think Dr. Finn. We'll bring him,
We
you
can
know.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something on sarcopenia as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Any other questions?
Vijaya, let's go and play the video.
I don't have the video.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay. Okay, but we'll just end with our AAPI.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone would like to join us for our
Yes.
signature move.
Yeah, I think I will play the music.
Jai Ho, are you putting the Jai Ho?
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay, I got pulling up. This is our.
Yeah.
We can sit and
You can
do
see.
it.
Yeah, we can sit and do it.
You can see it.
Okay. Once she starts the music, we can do it.
Yeah, we can't hear the music. Hold on, let me.
You play the music, play the music, play the music.
Not the.
Okay.
Yeah, we could have.
Can anyone play the music? Anyone?
Yes.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay. Let's.
Yeah. So it's basically A, P, I.
Hold on, I got it.
Yeah.
We're still focused on providing care.
Okay, let me pull it out. You know.
Can you guys hear this?
We can hear.
I can pull it out.
Did you guys hear that?
Thank you for your.
Okay, that's okay. This was, we are still working on it. So A, P, I. That's all it is. A, P, I.
Thank you all. Thank
Next event, we are going to have fun. We'll do a five-minute Jai Ho song with the AAPI, in it.
Till next time.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.